Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Tuesday, February 8th, 2022. Welcome to day 385. The House of Representatives is scheduled to vote on a short-term funding bill meant to avert a government shutdown and keep the federal government funded through March 11th, while talks on a broader spending package continue. Funding is currently set to expire on February 18th. Once the House passes the stopgap bill, the Senate would need to approve it before it can be sent to Joe Biden's desk and signed into law. House Appropriations Chair Rosa DeLauro said the stopgap bill is needed in order to allow time for more negotiations between Republicans and Democrats over a complete $1.5 trillion appropriations package meant to keep the government funded at least through September. In Alabama, the Supreme Court allowed a congressional map drawn by Republicans to remain in place, despite a lower court saying the map violated the Voting Rights Act. A lower court had ordered Alabama Republicans to redraw the map because it resulted in just one congressional district with a majority of black voters, even though black people make up more than a quarter of the state's population. Quote, black voters have less opportunity than other Alabamans to elect candidates of their choice for Congress. That quote is from the ruling from the lower court, which said the state had likely violated the Federal Voting Rights Act. The Supreme Court's 5-4 vote, however, means the upcoming elections will be conducted under the current map drawn by the Republican-controlled legislature. Chief Justice John Roberts joined the three liberal judges in dissenting, all of whom called the order a disservice to black Alabamans, who under Supreme Court precedent have, quote, had their electoral power diminished in violation of a law this court once knew to buttress all of American democracy, end quote. Moving on, Mitch McConnell criticized the Republican National Committee for censuring two Republican lawmakers who serve on the House committee investigating the January 6 riot at the Capitol. McConnell gave remarks at the Capitol and called the attack, quote, a violent insurrection for the purpose of trying to prevent the peaceful transfer of power, end quote. On Friday, the RNC approved a resolution that accused Representative Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger of participating in the, quote, persecution of ordinary citizens engaged in legitimate political discourse, end quote. Cheney and Kinzinger are the only two GOP members on the House panel. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's top science advisor resigned after he acknowledged that he mistreated and demeaned his subordinates. Eric Lander, director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy, apologized in an email to his staff after an internal review by the White House found credible evidence that he bullied his staff in violation of the White House's safe and respectful workplace policy. Lander is the first member of Biden's cabinet to resign. In other news, Joe Biden threatened to bring an end to the Nord Stream 2 natural gas pipeline if Russia invades Ukraine. The pipeline is not under U.S. control, however, and Biden did not explain how he would keep that promise. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz declined to comment on ending the pipeline if an invasion does go ahead. Although the pipeline between Russia and Germany was finished last September, it still hasn't transported any actual gas yet. And finally, the IRS suspended its plan to use a private facial recognition system to authenticate taxpayer identities for online access. The move comes following criticism from privacy advocates and lawmakers over concerns about the collection of biometric data. The agency originally planned to start using the third-party service this summer, called ID.me, which would require all taxpayers to submit a video selfie to access their tax records and other services. The IRS said it would transition away from the facial recognition service over the coming weeks. And in the polls, fewer than 1 in 5 people in the United States say the country is doing, quote, the right amount to combat climate change, end quote. 64% of Democrats and 26% of Republicans say the Biden administration is doing too little to address climate change. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditis.